We fight how we train. Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor. In this video, we're going to be breaking down basically the flow of the fight, some of the significant sequences that I thought were really important in the fight, and the development, and how we kind of got to the end of that, I'll say generously ass beating. And then we're also going to be talking about why it is that Teofimo Lopez is struggling to get knockouts. Right? Obviously, he got Campos out there, or Ocampo. I'm not sure which, but he got that guy out there. Couldn't get Sandro Martin out of there. Couldn't stop Loma either when he would get going. And we're going to be talking about these things, and it's going to be kind of building on a little bit of the stuff that I talked about pre-fight on Patreon about how Teofimo Lopez doesn't really use his left hook for offense. He usually uses it for defense, kind of going backwards, or for counters. We're going to kind of talk about a little bit about why. So first off, in the fight, starts off lead hand control. Obviously, neither one of these guys wants to get hit by an athlete of the other's caliber. Right, they're both pretty strong guys. They're both pretty fast, and they've both been throwing jabs for a long time. So you gotta cover that line. Now, Taylor's gonna immediately jump here on the line with the double jab, bop bop, and look at Taylor's positioning, or Teofimo Lopez's positioning here. He's still mostly ready to throw punches. Right, he's not really out of position from the double jab, so he's gonna kind of reset, come back to the line, and Taylor's gonna come forward. Taylor's gonna check the line. Right, oh, are you ready for my jab? What do you do after? Are you ready for a 1-2? Control some space. A jab comes, and what position is Teo in? Is he look scared? Does he look out of position? He looks ready to deal with the next punch, right? And this is very, very important because there wasn't a lot of stuff that Taylor could do to really get Teofimo Lopez out of position. Throwing the jab off of the lead hand control there as we take a look at that, bop, right? He tries to parry his arm, and now he's exposed. This is one of those opportunities that Taylor would be looking to attack him, but Teo's still ready. He's even got his cross block up here, ready to interact with that punch, okay? And all that is very, very, very important for the pace and the flow of the fight as the fight goes on. And we have Teo already dealing with the double jab here. One punch comes out, he's kind of almost parrying it, coming under the second punch, and then trying to come up with the body shot. Now, I do want to say that it does look like he's getting touched here by the left hand, but 30 seconds in, and he's already looking for counters on Josh Taylor's one of his most common sources of offense, which was the double jab. Now, as we keep going, jab, he pulls that jab, and now he gets back on the line. He kind of gets hit by this punch here, right? And this is why combination punching can be so effective, and why it is important that we have some layers of combination punching in our repertoire. But it's also why, even though pull counters, again, are a standard form of punching in combat, we have to be ready to be able to do that stuff. They're still dangerous because there are ways to beat pull counters. And as we see here, Teofimo Lopez trying to pull counter the jab and blast on the line, but he does land a very, very good shot. And again, although I don't recommend you jumping into your opponent's jab, he's trading for, he's getting a better trade than he's giving. Okay. And this idea is very important because this is one of the reasons why Taylor was losing so much of his offense. Okay, he just couldn't interact with Teofimo Lopez. He couldn't get him out of position. Teofimo Lopez was easily able to get away from his first layer of control and get back onto the line with big, 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 heavy shots. And that was a very consistent theme throughout the fight. And again, as we look a little bit more through round one, Taylor trying to control the line with his rear hand here, Teo pulling, getting his weight down, and coming up with this shot. And before Taylor can get his weight out of there, watch, as they both go down here, Taylor goes down, and as he starts bringing his weight up, Teofimo Lopez is just too fast for him. A really, really, really interesting sequence. And again, just Taylor had almost nothing on the line to really disturb Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez was too fast, too much control of the line. I don't want to say it's just IQ and stuff, but the difference in their athleticism was just very, very, very apparent. Here, Teo is jumping on the line off of that jab here, boom, coming forward with another rear hand here, and then coming in with the left hook, and now falling a little bit off balance here a little bit. And again, this is one of the reasons I want to say that Teofimo Lopez would, his offense would get stifled. Right, he would stifle it himself. He would get a guy going, and those punches, they're fast, they're hard. More importantly for Teo, they're easy for him to throw. So he's not really that stressed. It's not like he couldn't keep throwing punches. He's just worried about the possible return fire here. And as we saw as the fight went on, Taylor just didn't really have anything for Teo. Now, Taylor jumping on the line with the jab, getting interacted with. Teo's catching that right here, and then boom, interacting with him right on the very next beat. Again, limiting the amount of opportunities that Taylor's allowed to be even close to Lopez. And this has a significant impact on the fight as because of not only because of the fighting at the range, but it also makes Taylor not want to be on the line with him close up either, because he can see how quick Lopez can deliver his power to the line, and doing that in um, in that fast paced, that boxing environment, right? And there's just not a lot of space for Taylor, the less athletic of the two, to kind of rest and find opportunities to outmaneuver Teo, right? Now, again, Teo on the line, boom, controlling the line here and controlling, right? And again, getting to that same position. And this is the difference between the two: is Teo can go from this position here to this position here, throwing his rear hand so much quicker than Taylor can, and it gives him so much control over the line. And this is the space that they were fighting over, right? Because they would both equally understand the position they were in when they would get lead hand control. Taylor likes to throw his double jab from here, bop, bop. And Teo, again, was very good all night delivering his rear hand onto the line right after connecting the line with the lead hand control. Now, I thought this sequence was particularly cool. It's Taylor going to be catching the jab of, or Teo catching the jab of Taylor here. Beautiful work. And then crossing the line, controlling the lead glove of Taylor, recrossing the line, pulling, getting down, crossing the line with the body shot, and then getting under the line. And you can see his rhythm, his weight up, down, boom, throws that punch up, and then back down. Just this sequence is just incredible. Really, really, really high level skill. And Teo, kind of having fun in there, finding ways to kind of sneak around Josh Taylor's line, right? Sneak around, control the lead hand, stop it from hitting him and interacting with him, and then sneaking around it and landing a solid body shot, and then getting off the line and defending his line, right? Using some defensive responsibility, making sure he doesn't get hit. Really, really, really cool sequence in there. And again, Taylor had nothing for him. He couldn't find a way to penetrate or disrupt Teofimo Lopez's line enough to gain enough of an advantage to give him the ability to throw a punch during the space at which Teofimo Lopez is busy, right? Now, this sequence is really interesting, okay? Teo's going to get on the line with a 2-3, absolutely just smashing Taylor. And then again, whatever reason, Taylor or Teofimo Lopez wants to tie him up. He wants to body up with them. And now Taylor's going to do that thing where he tries to fight on the inside. And this is where, if Taylor had an advantage, this is where it was going to be. And there were some really ugly things in the fight. We're going to talk about a little bit of those. We're going to show one of them, right? But here, catches him with the shot. Now, Teo controls him, shoves him up into the corner, controls him with the shoulder. We can see him pushing off. Now, Taylor's going to do one of these fake moves where you think you're more than one move ahead of your opponent, but like he's not really that far away, where he goes bop, bop, and he tries to throw this body shot here. Okay? And he throws this body shot, and Teofimo Lopez catches him at the same time, right? And now he's getting back on the line. Boom, catches him with the shot. Taylor's going to catch him with the shot. And now, again, Teo's going to catch him again, because Taylor's kind of just sitting there after he lands a punch. He doesn't really have any defensive responsibility. The way that he kind of leaps and throws all his weight into his punches, but he doesn't understand how to train 2-foot punching. So he winds up falling off balance when he does it correctly with the right amount of force and the right amount of, but he doesn't have the coordination. And Teofimo Lopez is so much faster than him at getting his weight back to the ground, right? And all this place right here, this is all supposed to be a place where Taylor was supposed to be able to beat Teofimo Lopez, but he was easily able to outbox him here on the inside. He was easily able to keep up with him on every beat, catch the jab here, boom, and recountering. And again, showing true mastery over his opponent here, catching this jab here, right, interacting with it on the beat that Josh Taylor interacting with it, countering him here 1, 2, and then going to the body. Again, throwing multiple punches, all while his opponent uses one beat, boom, boom, boom. And Teo just demonstrating just how much quicker he was than Taylor, how much better his technique is. Again, Taylor trying to come forward, trying to disrupt his line. Teo re-countering. Taylor jumping right back on the line. He's going to come in with a boom, boom, a couple of feints. And now Teo is attacking his line, defending his line. And now again, Teo re-countering, right? Completely keeping up with Taylor. But Teo is making like 2 and 3 moves for every one move that Taylor's making. He's just always so far ahead of him in this fight. Just a really, really great athlete, to be honest. Really, really, really good. Now, there were some sequences in the fight where Taylor would catch Teo, right? Sometimes when he would be able to get on the line, boom, very athletic, pendulum step, control, lands a shot. Teo tries to block it, right? He doesn't interact correctly. And now they're on the inside, and again, Taylor wouldn't want to fight either, right? Taylor didn't want to be close to Teo, so he'd want to wrestle, he'd want to hold him down, and he got warned for this. And now here he is, and I actually think he should literally be fined by the commission for this, okay? He's blatantly just pushing him down through the ropes here like this. Teo's down. And now he's holding his head down here and hits him with a punch as hard as he could. That was the absolute best punch that Josh Taylor could muster, I promise you. Okay? I promise you. He should be fined. He should be suspended. Okay, this is serious, right? This guy's falling through the ropes and he's completely shoving and trying to manhandle him. This is not boxing. And again, this is one of those things I talked about pre-fight. This is why I think Teofimo Lopez, Taylor had maybe a small chance to win this fight, is if Lopez, he was a Boy Scout. He allowed Taylor to roughhouse him and steal stuff like this, right? Because this could have been a fight-changing thing, right? Oh, he gets a little dazed, falls out the ring, Bernard Hopkins style, right? Then he's got to get back in. Anyway, I definitely think he should be penalized for that. Now, again, Teo just miles and miles ahead of Taylor here, controlling the line, interacting with this shot, pull, coming with the body shot, and then coming with the left hand. Just beautiful. And again, Taylor was just so outclassed when it came to controlling the line and interacting and being able to get Teofimo Lopez out of position. He just wasn't able to do any of that. Wasn't able to really control him. And here's Taylor really trying to put it on him, really trying to be aggressive. Jab, pull, and here's Teofimo Lopez catching him with the hook as he comes inside. Again, on the double jab thing. And again, excellent hook. We can't say that Teofimo Lopez didn't throw any hooks, right? We all remember seeing him throw these hooks. Boom, boom, right? Pretty great shot. Catches him, disrupts his line. I think he hurt Taylor a few times and didn't recognize it. But, again, and now he's keeping up with Taylor. He's, and this punch. We're going to talk about this punch here, okay? We're going to talk about it because we see it here, right? But we can see that he didn't do it very often. We're going to talk about that as the film study goes on. But again, Taylor just could not find a meaningful way to get on the line with Teofimo Lopez. And here's Teofimo Lopez checking the line with his super quick jab. And look at what Taylor stays, right? Boom. And his head doesn't really move here. And now again, Teal's going to get to the very similar position, jump on the line, 1-2. And again, he was just so fast at being able to go from this position here, right, with the jab, boom, here, to going to a striking position. And again, if for all of you wondering, right, why does Taylor continue to meet him here? Well, he has to, otherwise he's going to get hit by this jab here, right? You see how quick Teofimo Lopez can throw this shot? He can go from 0 to 100. Now Taylor has to be able to be in a position to interact with that punch at this beat. And now at the very next beat, boom, he already has to be, oh, did he block that? Oh my God, am I here saying, oh, he did all this great stuff and it's blocked? I think in real time it lands. I don't know. Anyway, no, it does look like it lands. We can see, oh man, it's so close. Is it landing? Is it getting him? Anyway, Teo doing a much more athletic move, right? And there were times where Taylor was landing similar shots like this very, very, very clearly throughout the fight. And again, this was Lopez's main source of offense here. and being able to, again, force the interaction from his opponent because of his speed. Um, at that speed, it's very, very difficult to fight somebody like this. And even though Teo doesn't have any follow ups, right? He's going to throw the 1-2 and what, and then be forced to shift here, right? Um, Again, he could be doing this stuff a little bit better. He can learn how to do it a little bit better for sure. But Teofimo Lopez is a machine, super hard to fight, and especially because that beat that he can go from his jab to his two is the beat that he can do any move in boxing. He does everything at that speed. He's, incredible, right? Again, catching with the hook here, and disrupting Taylor's line. Again, Taylor just could not find a meaningful way to get on his line. And here he is going 1-1-2. Very common source of offense, missing the two, getting hit with the hook here. And again, Teofimo Lopez just absolutely dominating Taylor on the line. Boom, boom. Beautiful. Taylor jumps in. He gets interacted with, disrupted his line. Bop, bop. Teofimo Lopez has made 2 moves now. And to Taylor's 1 move, he's so far ahead of him now. And now he jumps on the line with the 1-2. Insane speed. He missed. Recontrols him with his body here as he shifts. Beautiful work. Almost finds a left hook. Teofimo Lopez has a problem. Sometimes he doesn't move his head when he punches. And this has to do with understanding the relationship between, the rest of your pieces of your kinetic chain. One, keeping your eye on your target. He has a habit of not doing this sometimes and not moving his head in relation to his target. And I think it causes him not to get the right angles on his punches sometimes, even though he's so fast, he's so sharp, and he does so many things correctly. But yeah, sometimes he doesn't move his head with his hooks and stuff, and it causes him not to get the correct angles. But anyway, throughout the course of this entire sequence, Lopez is just 1 beat ahead of Taylor. Every single beat, every single sequence in this clip here, Lopez dominated him on the line. He dominated every single sequence. Boom, boom. He controlled every single sequence. He completely outclassed Taylor throughout the course of the entire fight. And again, 1-2, coming forward. Now, this clip here is especially important. We're going to be taking a look at this in a second. Actually, yeah, let's kind of save it. We're going to save it because I want to talk about the scoring and stuff. I want to talk about it at the end of the video. We're going to be talking about scoring, things that needed to be changed in boxing about scoring, because I gave Taylor 2 rounds in this fight. 2. Right? Taylor was an okay amateur, right? Or a pretty good amateur. I don't know that much about. Everyone fights hard for the first 3 rounds, right? The technique and the stuff where Taylor can be kind of quick with his hands and quick with his stuff and throw punches at the line for 6 minutes straight. Sure, man, I believe you. That's great. But look at how easily Teofimo Lopez was able to kind of overcome how much exertion Taylor had to put into being that fast against a level like Teofimo Lopez. I don't want to say fake it till you make it like that, But the first 2 rounds, Taylor was fast enough to exert enough energy to keep up with Lopez. And then Lopez just completely outclassed him, right? They say class tells over time, right? So this style, the stuff that he's doing, it worked in the amateurs, right? Being able to just flood the line and be big and aggressive. Errol Spence. Errol Spence versus Crawford. And real quick, I want to say, you guys, Crawford in this fight is Teofimo Lopez. Spence in this fight is Josh Taylor. Spence is a better version of Josh Taylor. Much better. Okay? Pretty good. Crawford is a better version of Teofimo Lopez. The amount that Crawford is better than Lopez is more significant than the amount that that Spence is better than Taylor. And man, Crawford is gonna smash him. Anyway, getting back to the fight, this sequence is really important because this is Teo, boom, boom, shifting forward off the 1-2, being forced to 1-2, shifting forward. This is usually when he bodies up and now his opponent is running. This is when Teofimo Lopez is supposed to continue chasing his opponent. He's got him in this terrible position right here. Now he's in a terrible position again, and now he's in a terrible position in the next beat. But Teofimo Lopez, again, we fight how we train, and we're going to be talking about that in a second. But Teofimo Lopez doesn't really use his leaping left hook on offense. Boom, boom. He doesn't usually use that move to chase his opponents, okay? And we're going to be taking a look at a fighter who kind of does, okay? Now, real quick, boom. We're going to go back to that last clip. Again, completely keeping up with Taylor here. Taylor just can't seem to get ahead of him. And Teo throwing a punch. Taylor pull countering it. Boom. Teo shoulder rolling that shot and then countering with that next punch and then still being able to defend himself. Again, one of the cooler, more more fun sequences in the fight. But Teo again, boom, pull counter, boom, shoulder rolling it, bop, and re-countering. Just beautiful work from Teo. Again, most of the fight was mostly like that, I'll say. There were some scenes where it was Taylor kind of just chasing Lopez down and accidentally hitting him. But now we're going to get to why it was that Taylor escaped the clutches of Lopez, right? And it wasn't because of the boxing that they said they were going to do and they weren't going to be a killer and they weren't going to do this. He tried. But see this move here where he gets to the front foot? We can see him crossing the line here. And this is the position where he should be throwing the leaping left cross, right? And we saw there's a highlight of him throwing that shot and smashing Taylor. I didn't include it. Everyone saw it. But he smashes him. And this is also the position he should be throwing the leaping left hook. But for some reason, he would throw this uppercut thing over here. And Taylor would almost always dodge it and counter him. Okay? And this punch here, the utilization of that position and how Teo would get there, and again, boom, boom, not be using the leaping left hook, right? And now again, he's going to jump on the line, 1, 2, and now here, throwing the 2 again instead of the left hand, right? And there were so many sequences in the fight where he would cover the next beat, not with a left hook, not with a leaping shot, while his opponent is in what? His opponent's in La La Land. Look at the position that he's in. Okay? It's a terrible position. Where have we seen that position before? Well, here's Loma, boom, smashing with the rear hand, pushing his opponent around, getting control of him with the left after, resetting real quick, not hugging, not holding, but smashing, right? Coming forward, probing, pushing the guy around. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? Gets him out of position. And now the guy is doing that same move that Taylor did where he tries to pivot and pendulum step off the line, and Loma's catching him with the hook. Boom, boom. A beautiful, beautiful shot from him. And that's exactly what's going on in this sequence here, right? Boom, boom. He's running. He's ready. He's ready. The beat was there. When you catch your opponent leaving the line, because at some point you're going to realize, you guys, that the pendulum step is the only way to move around in boxing. Either you break it up with the pendulum walk, or you're pendulum stepping. That's it. Mostly. But here he is using the very exaggerated because that's how he has to, that's the only way to get away. And Teofimo Lopez doesn't really use the leaping left hook to chase his opponents, okay? He doesn't really do this stuff here. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Now, this is the move that Teofimo Lopez chose to throw at his opponents when he would get to this very, very dominant position. And it's this is the reason why he's not getting knockouts in these fights. It's because his lack of understanding of how to utilize the leaping left hook to control his opponents, or rather, what I call pendulum boxing. The idea that you're going to be using any punch that you can to set your other punches up. And that's why in the Fouts boxing combat system, we have such a heavy emphasis on using pull counters. We have such a heavy emphasis on leaping punches and being able to teach those punches to you. So check out the Fouts boxing combat system. It's going to teach you everything that Teofimo Lopez does well, and all the things that he does not do well, but better. Okay, because you're going to learn how to do it on purpose so that you understand that moves like this, you're never going to do this. You're never going to do this to somebody because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't go anywhere in your boxing system. Okay, again, check out the Fouts boxing combat system. Everything you need to know to learn how boxing and fighting and combat works. Okay, not only that, you're going to get to watch my personal students learn how to do that stuff as well. Okay, they're going to go through the system, and you'll get to see me correct and teach them on video. Um, it's very, very cool stuff. It's really, really, really cool stuff, and see people's testimonials and all that stuff. It's really, really cool. It's really, really cool stuff. So check it out. But again, he's utilizing this move or utilizing this position incorrectly. Um, again, throwing it as an uppercut like that weird thing like that, um, takes away all of his ability to get any value because he doesn't know what to do after this shot. But simply throwing it as a leaping left hook or the left cross would be so much more valuable than this because he's so off balance for so long, right? He gave Taylor so much opportunity to interact with him. Now, ironically, I just wanted to point out here is Josh Taylor utilizing the leaping left hook against Teofimo Lopez. So I just thought that was a really interesting thing. And again, this is a really, really basic skill, okay, being able to do that. And now we're going to talk about why it is that Teofimo Lopez has this flaw, right? What is it in his training? Okay, well, the heavy bag is usually where most people spend most of their time, right? So we're going to be looking at his heavy bag work. See that uppercut right there? Is that the punch that he's throwing right there? But he's throwing it to the head, right? I think so. Now, most of Teofimo Lopez's heavy bag work is top tier. It's amazing. He's an incredible athlete. He does so many things correctly. He gets a lot of weight into his shots. Beautiful. Boom, boom. Excellent, excellent. He can still do those punches better. Check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. You'll learn to throw punches better than Teofimo Lopez. I guarantee it. Okay, check it out. Again, first coach in history to say that I can 100% teach any fighter on the planet how to punch hard. And I'll teach you exactly what Ryan Garcia does with his hands to generate speed and power, exactly what Tank Davis does, exactly what any fighter ever has done, okay, to generate power. And yeah, the best ways to train it. It's really, really incredible system, you guys. Check it out. Okay. Now, throughout all this stuff that Lopez has been doing here, one saying that I have that I teach is that only beginners hit standing heavy bags. Okay. Now, I want to say that this is a special case, right? It's their media workout. There's a lot of people around. There's not a lot of space for the bag to be moving and circling, right? But here's the thing: is this is how Teofimo Lopez is always hitting the bags, right? So watch, he's gonna go boom, 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 pull, right? And now the bag comes back, and that's his game, right? He knocked the bag away. Now here it comes back, and he's fighting it in the center, right? But it's not swinging. When he knocks it away, boom, boom, wow, 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 pull, defense, right? But the bag is moving away, and this is the time where when you're fighting your opponent and they keep running away from you, you can't catch them with your normal punch. Come back here, heavy bag, and the heavy bag keeps moving. Come back, heavy bag. Come back. Man, this heavy bag is so weird. It's going over there. Now it's over here. Now it's all the way over here. Boom. And you have to chase it. And you have to chase it, and you have to practice keeping your weight moving. And when the bag starts moving, you have to move with it. And it's really important for the development so that you understand how to coordinate how your feet work, how to coordinate how you use your weight when you're moving, and how to control the line through every position and every beat so that you can safely do that and safely threaten your opponent's position, right? But there's no leaping left hooks here in this routine from Teo. It's a lot of stuff that he's really good at, where he's just on the line. He can throw a punch and go from one position to another. Like, look at the speed here, right? He's in this position, now he's in this position, right? Super quick, right? He's really, really, really fast, and really sharp and all that stuff. But again, a few of those patterns that are missing from his routine. And now, check this out. Okay, couple starts with a couple left hooks, right? And now, where's the leaping left hooks? He can practice his 1-2s. He can practice his little games here. Bop, 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 right? He can practice all these games, but he can't practice any leaping left hooks. He can't practice chasing, right? Now, one of the philosophies that I have about training is that you should practice your best punch, your hardest punch. You should practice your lucky punch every day, right? Now, you should also practice Okay? You should also practice not just fighting when you're behind in a fight, where you're like always on defense and everything has to be perfect, but it's also very important to practice being ahead in the fight. It's very important to practice that if you have a good 1-2 and your opponent's always running off the line like a karate guy, that you be able to follow up your 1-2. You can't just assume that, oh, I have a good enough 1-2, no one can beat my 1-2. No, some clever guy's just going to not even fight you. And he's going to be able to do one thing better than you anywhere else. And if you can't chase him, you can't win. And you got to learn how to be able to chain your sequences together. Not just stand on the line here and throw one punch and then get back to your boxing stance, right? Like most people say. Most really, really, really terrible coaches, right? Get back to your boxing stance immediately. No, defend your position and advance, right? And in sequences with Teofimo Lopez, how does he not know how to advance his position here against an opponent who is so stressed, his positioning is so bad here? Do you know what you see when you see a guy moving in this position? This is a wounded warrior. He's falling. He's almost done. These are the guys that wind up on the back half of their line because they're getting beat up, usually by someone bigger, stronger, someone who's imposing themselves, right? Usually if you fight someone who's bigger and stronger than you, it's easier for you to get pushed into a position like this, unless you're like, always crossing their line and punching them, right? Trying to. But it's hard to do against someone who's imposing their will, someone who's stronger than you, someone who's breaking you down. And Taylor was in this position all the time. But Teofimo Lopez could not keep the sequences up. He couldn't continue chasing. And again, simple things. Again, only beginners hit standing heavy bags. You have to have the bag moving and swinging. Okay? You go to your local gym and they have the heavy bag sitting right next to the wall. That's a shitty gym. If all that bag can do is let you punch it hard one time or two times, that's a shitty bag. That's a shitty stand. And I do want to point out that this is a great setup for this bag here. Not this one. This is obviously for a different tool, but this bag here, there's a lot of space to work around it. There's a lot of space for it to move, for you to follow it around. Now again, look at, why is he not chasing that bag, right? Come on now. Anyway, most of what the stuff that Teo does on the heavy bag is brilliant. It's really, really great stuff. He's got a really great routine. Obviously, he can add to it, right? And again, at the highest level, when you've got guys that are, almost as athletic as you, you you have to have every little advantage as you can. You have to be able to interact with them from as many positions as possible if you want to keep that pressure up. Because again, I'll say 50% of this fight was Teofimo Lopez dominating Taylor on the line, dominating him, beating the crap out of him, landing hard shots fast, whipping him around, doing this. Taylor couldn't keep up. Then 25% of it was Taylor chasing Teo down and Teo, conserving energy and not trying to knock him out. And then the other 25% was Taylor running from Teo. Right? Now, that means that 75% of this fight was Teo beating up Taylor. And that's true. And now I want to talk a little bit about, open scoring. Okay? Because I don't know where you give Josh Taylor, who got absolutely annihilated on the line in this fight. This was embarrassing. And they gave him 5 rounds. Like, where? And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing is if it wasn't so obvious, right? Like Canelo Bivol. How did Canelo get so many rounds? Right? Like, what if Teo went down from one of those, like, weird, he's holding onto his arm and punches him and Teo goes down? Right? What if Teo wasn't as strong as he was? And now all of a sudden that 5 rounds that he got gifted, it turns into what? right? Think about this, you guys. Okay, um, because it's really interesting, right? Because Teo's complaining about the Cambosis fight, right? Why did we have to watch Teofimo, or why did we have to watch Devin Haney fight Cambosis twice? That took a whole year, right? Both fights sucked. We didn't learn anything about anybody. Nobody wanted to watch it, right? But we had to watch that shit because it doesn't matter who wins the fight, right? Like, what did American Idol teach anybody? Well, they're always going to screw the guy who gets first, or yeah, and they're going to give it to the person who's second because the person who's second is going to be a more breakout star, and if they sell more albums to the guy who should get second, or who should get second by making him first, they make more money, right? And they can kind of force who they want. I know, American Idol reference. That was from when I was a little kid. I used to watch a lot of that stuff, but it was interesting that they would have all these scandals where, you know, they could manipulate it to make it so that one guy was more likely to win. You know. Anyway, um, that's why Devin Haney got the nod over Lomachenko, right? That's why they're trying to do that with Canelo Alvarez, right? That's why Canelo's not going to fight Bivol next and avenge him, right? He should not fight Bivol again. Okay, he's not going to win the fight. Um, but that's why he's going to fight Badu Jack instead. Which, by the way, I called. I called the night. The night that I found out that Badu Jack was fighting Ilunga Makabu. I was like, oh shit, they're setting it up. I knew as soon as it. Anyway, now wouldn't we have much rather seen Devin Haney fight Teofimo Lopez at 135? Right? I mean, or Lomachenko versus Haney 3 times versus any of those Cambosis fights, right? Now, I'm not saying Cambosis lost, right? But what I am saying is open scoring may have been enough to keep Teo on track fighting that fight. Oh, I'm down 3 rounds now. How do they have him up this many points? I need to tighten up. I need to do this. I need a knockout. Right? And we just did not even have the opportunity. Um, to see that. Now, think about this idea, right? Because stuff like that, right? Mungia versus Derevianchenko. What? Didn't Derevianchenko dominate that fight? Like, I know he went down in the 12th round, but like, maybe if he knew he was so far ahead on the scorecards, he wouldn't have fought so hard, right? Or maybe also Mungia would see that he's down earlier in the fight and really start putting it on him, and we'd get a better fight, a more competitive fight, right? Like when two teams in the NBA are going at it, and it's 113, 113, right? And 113, 114, or whatever the score, and then just I got two, now you got two, and I got two, and I need a three, and it's fun and it's interesting and it makes the game competitive. But without the scoring, we have stuff like Lomachenko beating the crap out of Haney and then running away because he doesn't know he needs the points. Oh, I don't need to be competitive. In my head, I've banked 9 rounds here. And then what? Now we don't get a 12th round. Now I want to say Derevianchenko and Jaime Munguia, we don't get 12 rounds like that. That was an amazing fight. That was a sick fight. And man, I'm sorry, Derevianchenko, that they had no open scoring for any of the fights in your career and you didn't know how much you needed to turn it up or turn it down. But can you guys imagine? Can you guys imagine having an amateur career like Derevianchenko, where you have like over 300? It's like, didn't he have like 379 fights or something? And then you become a pro, and in your whole life, you're like, man, I'm one of the most decorated amateur fights. I'm definitely going to be a world champion. Always a bridesmaid, right? And what are you going to do? Oh, so in the 12th round, in a fight that you're winning, you're going to go out there and you're going to get knocked down because you think you need it so bad. And, what kind of crazy gaslighting culture is that? And here's the thing: who does it benefit? It benefits the promoters because the promoters don't give a shit about the fighters. They care about making the next show, right? What's more lucrative, right? And here's the thing: the promoters are going to be fine no matter what happens, mostly. Canelo getting beat by Biffle was expensive for sure. Thank God he wound up beating Golovkin. And, maybe Golovkin needed some open scoring for his fights as well, right? Now, getting back to the idea again, and if you don't think open scoring is a good idea, you know, I don't know what's wrong with you. And if you're a fighter and you're negotiating your contracts without open scoring, you're an idiot. If you actually want a fair shake and you're not trying to get open scoring and you're a headlining guy, right? Because think about this fight. Look at Crawford versus Spence. Look at all of the obstacles in this fight. Look at how long it took to make this fight. And you know why? You know what the last straw could have been? Somebody going up to Crawford's corner and not telling him that he's behind. You guys remember that? Do you guys remember that? Hey, bro, you're losing the fight. They're gonna steal this from you. What? How? And what does he do within 1 minute of hearing that? He knocks him out. Now, I want to say, Crawford, you could have thrown the fight, bro. You could have, by playing with the little fish, you could have wound up getting Lomachenko. With a, right? Think about the 12th round we would have had if Loma knew he was going to lose the fight against Teofimo Lopez. Think about that. Think about the 12th round we would have had if Loma knew he was going to lose the fight against Haney. But he wants to play it safe. I don't want to go down. I'm winning. I don't want to. But think about us not getting Spence Crawford because Porter gets a split decision over Crawford, a controversial split decision because he doesn't know what the score is. Right? Now, again, if I'm right, this fight is like a baby version of Spence versus Crawford. Crawford's going to annihilate Spence, absolutely annihilate him. And when he annihilates him, now Spence might be really big too. I don't know. We'll see how big. They're like similar sizes, but Spence is like pretty thick too. So hopefully he makes weight. That's all I gotta say. If he misses weight by like 5 pounds, rest in peace, Terrence Crawford. No, I'm just kidding. I think he still beats him. I still think he beats him real bad too. um, but that's gonna change all of boxing, right? Everything that everyone remembers ever about Spence. I know people are saying the car accident and all that shit. Shut the fuck up. You don't know shit about boxing. Okay? You don't know shit about boxing if you're going to use that as an excuse. And that guy who looks like Drake from Josh saying that, oh, the Spence that beat Mikey Garcia, he would annihilate this Crawford. You're an idiot. You don't know shit about boxing. That was one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard. Holy shit. That's the most ignorant. How are you? It's just baffling. But here's the thing: is if Crawford loses to Porter, we never get Spence versus Crawford. We never get it. And Spence goes on to be this undefeated and he's going to have then he gets to go and have a babied career at 154. He gets to go fight his friend Charlo. Probably get the nod against Charlo if he doesn't get knocked out. He might get knocked out though if he fought Charlo because Charlo got a hard left hook and Errol Spence doesn't move his head. Right? Charlo don't really move his head either. And man, he's big. Charlo's pretty big dude, so he might be able to stop Spence, which is interesting. But then, Spence goes on to be, undefeated, 50-0, 2 division champion. Anyway, all that funny stuff. And then I don't know if he would go up to 160. I don't think it'd be even a good idea for him. Even if they could like baby his career, it depends who they have at 160 at the time. To hand feed him, but this is the thing is every time there is an open scoring every round, right? Why does it take a whole round? These guys are throwing pull counters and power punches and the most insane athletic stuff. Oh, you think hitting a baseball is hard? And these guys are doing that over and over and over per round, and all this guy's got to write down is a number 9 and a number 10. And they should have those scores. They should have those scores on the Jumbotron 30 seconds after the round is over. 30 seconds max. 30 seconds max. And they should be telling everyone. The fighters should know who won the round. And there's no excuse for this shit. And the only reason it doesn't happen is because it benefits the promoters. Because it's better for the promoters. Because then they can do stuff like keep Canelo undefeated, right? Keep, even though he wasn't undefeated, he lost to Mayweather, right? But give him gift decisions against Golovkin, right? To keep his marketability. Oh, they don't have to have an immediate rematch because he won the fight. Pfft, crap. It's fucking shit, right? And then, anyway, we just don't get the fights that people want. We get shitty fights like Jack Catterall versus Josh Taylor. Why did we get that fight? Oh, because they decided that Josh Taylor was more marketable than Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis, who is an actual killer. That guy is one step away from being a generational talent. He's one step away from being a Terrence Crawford himself. Like, he is. And what? We wound up getting stuck with Taylor versus Catterall. And then Taylor versus Lopez. And they still tried to steal it from Lopez by giving Taylor 5 rounds. But here's the thing: is like I said before the pre-fight, right? And if you want to watch my pre-fight, the video went exactly like I said it would, like 100% to a T. Lopez dominating Taylor, probably not knocking him out, but maybe they could have stopped it. I don't know why they thought he was winning the fight, but what the hell was I saying? But we shouldn't have had to see this fight. This fight did. The thing is Regis Prograis should be the champion right now, right? But we had to follow the belts around, like we had to follow the belts around with Haney. We had to follow the belts around with Taylor, get a bunch of suboptimal fights. Like, nobody wants to see that shit. And huge money is made with Haney fighting Kambosos. And for what? And here's the thing, right? Teofimo Lopez wants to retire because he thinks, 2-weight division, this and that. I know there was the argument with Lineal and Undisputed, right? And here's the thing: Teofimo Lopez is not the undisputed champion at 140. Because I think Prograis beat Taylor. I think Jack Catterall beat Taylor. I think Lopez beat the shit out of Taylor. I think all of these guys. This guy has so many losses on his record that beating him does not make you a champion. And I don't think that Teo is ready right now for Prograis. I think that he needs, if he wants to be able to fight a slick guy like Prograis, he's going to need to know how to use his leaping left hook, because if he throws that left uppercut thing at Prograis is going to knock him spark out. And Teo's a big, strong dude. He's a big, strong dude, but I really think that Prograis is, he's a little bit better of a puncher than Teo. He's not as sharp, but he's as fast. If he gets to go first, he's as fast as Teo. And is dangerous. But in my opinion, He's the 140-pound kingpin. He's the guy, right? Um, until now, oh man, another guy that I think is really good, really, really, really good is Subriel Matthias. Um, that guy is a legit killer, super, super talented, really hard to fight guy. Um, I don't want to say that that's where Teo should go before he fights Prograis. Um, but man, no, everyone should be avoiding that guy. The baseline for fighting that guy is horrendous. It's horrendous. Probably the hardest guy, maybe the hardest guy in any division to fight. Subriel Matthias. Just, whew, big fan, big fan. Uh, um, Still has work himself to do, um, but very, very hard to fight. And Teal might have the speed to fight him. That might be Teo versus Subriel Matthias. That might be, fight of the decade. That fight would be so good because Teo needs someone coming at him, right? Teo needs someone coming at him, and Prograis is not the kind of guy you want coming at you. When he gets on your line, the amount of power that he's putting on every punch is just incredible. It's a bad style for Teo. I think it's not good for him. And but Subriel Matthias, I think, is the style that Teo could look good against. He could, not look good against. Oh man, look good. Nobody's gonna look good against Matthias. And I think that if Prograis has to fight Matthias, Prograis will have some trouble with Matthias. I don't think that I don't think Prograis is at the level of Crawford yet. If he was, I think that he would give Matthias a run for his money. Matthias is like, man, I still got to restudy him again. I just remember my opinion of him. Super good, super, super good. But he's at the level, I think, that everyone thinks Errol Spence is at. And he is that guy, I think, but an orthodox version, right? Anyway, long video. We find how we train. Teo needs to be training more leaping left hooks. He needs to be chasing these bags. He needs a more dynamic routine. How are you going to say that about one of the best athletes of our generation? This guy's incredible, right? But I'm right. You can see it in the Sandor Martin fight. He should have been able to catch that guy with a leaping shot and drop him too, right? But he couldn't. And all his leaping shit looks funny. It looks weird, right? You can see that he's making mistakes. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys need somebody to check out your heavy bag work, tell you what you're doing wrong, tell you how to do A, B, C, and D, and all that stuff. Or if you're looking for a community to train and work through and you want to join my Discord, it comes with a free copy of the Fouts Boxing Combat System, but you got to buy a 1-year membership. It winds up being a little bit under $50 a month, American. It's a great deal. Okay, you'll learn a lot. I promise. There are hundreds of videos on Discord for you to go through. There's a community of my private fighters that sometimes I post clips of, and all that fun stuff. But you can become a part of that if you're looking for other people to, who want to learn the Fouts Boxing system. You want to learn it with them. You want to see them. And there's like sparring, there's fights and stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. To be honest, it's like a really, really, really incredible resource. Okay. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check out Patreon, right? If you want full fight film studies, also check out Patreon. But yeah, all that fun stuff. Or check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System in the link below. Again, anything that these guys can do physically, I can teach you how to do. With speed, with power, 100%. Zero bad reviews on my Fouts Boxing Combat System when it was on dynamic striking. And met a lot of real professional fighters who were starting to use my system. Okay, so get in early. Start learning this stuff because the stuff that I'm teaching in my Fouts Boxing Combat System is going to become the core of all boxing in a few years. Everyone is going to be fighting like I say. Just like a few years ago when I predicted, boxing is going to go in this direction in a few years, everyone's going to look like Lomachenko. Everyone's going to be. In a few years this, in a few years. In a few years, you guys, every single fighter on the planet is going to have punching power. There aren't going to be very many fights going 12 rounds. Okay, it's not going to be possible. With the kind of power that people are generating, the kind of speed and athleticism, how everyone is going to be a Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay, so if you want your first look at what it feels like to be Sugar Ray Robinson, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. Later, guys.